He spent $95,000 building a startup product. The idea was bold: a marketplace where fans could pay to interact with their favorite streamers, creators, and online personalities. Imagine playing Fortnite with your favorite streamer, booking a guitar lesson with an up-and-coming musician, or buying a digital backstage pass to a creator you admire. The business model was simple: take a 20% cut from every transaction. But after nearly $100,000 spent on development and marketing, the startup only made a couple $1,000s in revenue before shutting down. What went wrong? This is not just a story of bad luck. It is a lesson every aspiring founder should hear. The startup, called StarSync, was founded by Johnny Boyarsky, who had long been interested in startups and had experience around startup accelerators. The original spark came during the NFT and crypto wave. Johnny wondered, what actually makes a digital asset valuable? He realized that rarity alone was not enough. Access could be even more powerful. For example, imagine owning a special LeBron James digital card that gave you a 10-minute conversation with him every month. That card would be valuable not just for its rarity, but for the real access it provided. This thinking evolved into StarSync, a marketplace focused on paid fan experiences with emerging esports personalities, Twitch streamers, musicians, and online talent. On the surface, StarSync sounded like a strong idea. It tapped into the creator economy, fandom, digital experiences, and new ways for creators to monetize their audiences. But a strong-sounding idea is not the same as strong market demand. Johnny, a solo founder without a technical background, hired a US-based development shop to build the product. That decision alone cost around $95,000. The problem was not just the expense, it was spending so much before proving that fans actually wanted to pay for these experiences. The startup made the classic mistake of building a full product before validating the core demand, a misstep that would prove fatal. Johnny later admitted that one of his biggest mistakes was not creating an MVP, a minimum viable product. An MVP is the simplest version of an idea that lets you test whether people actually want it. For StarSync, an MVP could have been as basic as a landing page, a payment link, a manual booking process, a small group of creators, a few test experiences, or even a Discord community. The goal should have been to answer one question: will fans actually pay for this experience? Instead, a large amount of money went into building a polished platform before that question had a clear answer. A beautiful product does not create demand by itself. Another challenge was the execution. The dev shop showed impressive designs early on, but progress soon slowed. For several months, there was little meaningful progress, and then the product was rushed together near the end. By the time StarSync launched in March 2022, it barely worked as intended. Johnny had already spent serious money, but the product was not strong enough to give the idea a fair test. This highlights a major risk of outsourcing early-stage startup products. Without a technical co-founder or strong technical oversight, it is hard to know if progress is real, if the architecture is sound, or if the product is being built in the leanest way possible. StarSync targeted fans of streamers and online creators, a passionate audience, but one with limited disposable income. Many fans loved their favorite creators, watched every stream, liked every post, and commented constantly. But that did not mean they could afford to spend $500 or $1,000 for a personal interaction. Johnny later realized he may have chosen the wrong demographic. He said he should have considered a different audience, perhaps local celebrities or an older age group with more disposable income. In business, the buyer matters as much as the idea. A product can fail if it targets people who love the concept but cannot afford the offer. StarSync also relied heavily on talent and streamer promotion. The assumption was that if creators joined the platform and promoted it to their audience, fans would come and buy. But that did not happen at the needed scale. Johnny hired a talent agency to connect with streamers and potential talent, but the agency made promises it could not fully deliver on. The team also tried paying streamers for shoutouts, but that quickly became expensive. Some streamers charged based on average viewer count, asking for $2,000 for a short promotion. Paid attention is not the same as real demand. You can buy a shout-out, but you cannot buy genuine interest. At one point, it seemed like things were finally working. A tweet gained around 100 retweets. But after looking deeper, Johnny realized many of the profiles engaging with the tweet were bots or giveaway hunters. The traction was not real. Vanity metrics can be dangerously misleading. Likes do not equal customers, retweets do not equal revenue, and followers do not equal product market fit. A startup can look like it is gaining attention while still failing to build a real customer base. The only traction that truly matters is behavior. Are people paying? Are they coming back? Are they telling others? Another major issue was that the idea was too difficult to explain clearly. When Johnny described StarSync, people often got confused. In early-stage startups, clarity matters. If people do not quickly understand what you do, why it matters, and why they should use it now, the business becomes harder to grow. Your marketing, pitch, and sales all become more difficult. A strong startup idea should usually be easy to explain in one sentence. If the value proposition becomes too broad or confusing, users are likely to do nothing. So why did StarSync fail? It was not one single reason. It was a combination of problems: spending too much before validating demand, skipping a true MVP, outsourcing an expensive product build, targeting an audience with limited buying power, assuming creator promotion would drive sales, relying on mismatched channels, mistaking fake engagement for real traction, struggling with retention, and lacking a simple explanation. When you have to keep forcing adoption, pushing creators, and explaining the product over and over, it is a sign the market does not want it badly enough. Looking back, Johnny shared several lessons. First, understand the market before launching. Know if the audience has the money and willingness to pay. Second, bring in a technical co-founder or strong technical partner early to reduce risk and cost. Third, do not overspend on the first version. A lean MVP is better. Fourth, do not assume people will care just because you pay them to promote. Fifth, build something easy to explain. The real takeaway: validate first, build small, test demand, and invest more only when the market proves it cares. The market only cares if your product solves a real, urgent problem.